Black Ops 7 is bad on purpose. Over the course of the last couple of years, we've seen marketing headlines like this one, which talks about how new Call of Duties have 4-year development cycles. Which on paper sounds incredible, right? But what if I told you that this 4-year development cycle is actually a clever sleight of hand? Historically, we've had a rigid 3-year rotation: Infinity Ward, Treyarch, and Sledgehammer, but that model is dead. Quietly, behind the scenes, Activision has restructured the entire pipeline into something new: a platform and an expansion model, designed to sell you glorified DLC as a full $70 release. Black Ops 6 and 7 had 8 studios working on the titles. This is the story of how the new 4-year development cycle of Call of Duty is a flat-out lie. One that's designed to make you think that every off-year Call of Duty is actually worth $70. I'm Pounder McNasty, and I dive into the development stories behind video games. If you enjoy the content this channel has to offer, I'd appreciate it if you took a moment to hit subscribe. Today, we dive into the deceptive development cycle of Black Ops 7. To understand the reality of Black Ops 7, we have to take a look at how the old system broke. From 2014 to 2019, we had the Golden Triangle. Each studio had 3 years to develop a game. Infinity Ward did the gritty military game, Treyarch did the cerebral Black Ops stuff, and Sledgehammer, well, they did the experimental stuff. But it worked. But then, 2 things happened that completely destroyed this rhythm. First, the Warzone singularity. In 2020, Warzone launched and fundamentally broke the siloed development model. Before this, when a studio finished a game, they were done, except for some DLCs. But Warzone is a hungry beast that needs constant feeding. Resources that were supposed to be making the next game, texture artists, weapon balances, and network engineers, were siphoned off to keep the Battle Royale afloat. The distinct 3-year development cycle effectively became a 2-year plus Warzone support development cycle. Second, the Sledgehammer implosion. During the development of the 2020 title, Sledgehammer Games and Raven Software were essentially at war with each other over creative direction. The project fell apart. Activision had to pull the ripcord, and Treyarch had to come in to save the day, forcing them to ship Black Ops Cold War a full year ahead of schedule. This shattered the timeline. And with budgets ballooning from $450 million to nearly $700 million per game, the old way of doing things were simply too expensive to maintain. And ever since this, Treyarch, Infinity Ward, and Sledgehammer have contributed to every single Call of Duty game, year after year. Activision still wants to maintain the illusion that these games are developed by individual studios, so they can make the year's Call of Duty seem special, but it's incredibly deceptive. This brings us to the biggest secret of Black Ops 7, the engine. Historically, Black Ops games ran on their own specific engine. It's why Treyarch games always felt colorful and arcadey, and distinct from the heavier Modern Warfare titles. But with the development of Modern Warfare 2 in 2022, Activision laid down a new law. Everybody used the new unified engine, or in other cases, IW9. This is where that 4-year development cycle for Black Ops 6 and 7 actually went. It wasn't just spent on creative innovation, it was spent on technical debt. Treyarch had to take the specific feel of a Black Ops game and rebuild it completely from scratch inside Infinity Ward's engine. This is a massive upfront investment, but it had a specific purpose: asset portability. By unifying the engine, assets can now be swapped seamlessly between studios. A weapon model created by Infinity Ward can be dropped into a Treyarch game. A texture set from Warzone works in Black Ops. This portability is the secret sauce that enabled the Year 2 strategy. It allows the developers of the next game to reuse the environmental assets, physics, and lighting of the previous game entirely. The distinction between Game 1 and Game 2 stops being about code and starts just being about the content itself. And this strategy was tested with Modern Warfare 3, which had an insane 16-month development cycle. If you want to know what the future of Call of Duty looks like, just look at the past. Modern Warfare 3, which was released in 2023, is the prototype for this new era. Industry reports, most notably from Jason Schreier at Bloomberg, initially identified this project as a premium expansion for Modern Warfare 2. It was supposed to be a Year 2 support pack. But midway through, the suits needed a $70 release on the balance sheet. So, the expansion was rebranded as a full game. And the result of this? A title developed in just 16 months that relied almost entirely on remastered maps from 2009 to fill the content void. They didn't have time to design new maps, so they just made the old ones look pretty. They also introduced Carry Forward, where all your guns from the last game moved to the new one. While marketed as consumer-friendly, it blurred the line, effectively making MW3 a plus version of MW2 rather than a new game. This is the model. A platform setter followed by a content sequel. So what does this mean for us right now? It means Black Ops 6 is the platform setter. The 4 years were spent building the systems like zombies, omni movement, weapons sandbox, and the UI. The terrible UI. That tech is the foundation, which brings us to 2025. Project Saturn, aka Black Ops 7, reports indicated that Black Ops 6 and this new Black Ops 7 were developed simultaneously. Black Ops 6 laid the groundwork, and Black Ops 7 was the content sequel. This is why we see things like Gobblegums, Augment Research, and some character skins transferring over to Black Ops 7. The game is essentially a DLC for Black Ops 6. It also explains why they're marketing it as a sequel to Black Ops 2. The content roadmap for Black Ops 7 will include a mix of remastered maps, a strategy from MW3, alongside some new ones. They were banking hard on nostalgia, and since nostalgia is a hell of a drug, it makes it really easy for Activision to just pump out remastered versions of maps from Black Ops 2 in an attempt to capture the older Call of Duty audience. This is the Avengers Infinity War / Endgame model, albeit with a fraction of the excitement behind those movies, where both movies were shot back to back to save money on actors and sets. Black Ops 7 isn't a game being built from scratch. It's the second half of the content pipeline generated during the Black Ops 6 production phase. The assets, the storyboards, and the mechanics are already done. Black Ops 7 launched with a focus on remastered maps from Black Ops 2 alongside a mix of new maps. High content volume, low design risk. And to put a bow on Black Ops 7 feel like a completely new entry, they even had AI generated calling cards, so they wouldn't have to focus artists' attention on this expansion pack. And of course, the new parent company of Call of Duty isn't upset about this. In fact, they're probably over the moon. In 2023, Microsoft acquired Activision, and I remember initially thinking that maybe they would make Call of Duty better, but I was completely wrong. The reality is that Microsoft actually wants to make Call of Duty easier to make instead of a better game. I thought that the leadership at Xbox would quote-unquote free the developers from yearly releases, but I was dead wrong. I mean, take a look at what Bobby Kotick had to say about Phil Spencer and the leadership team at Xbox post-acquisition.
You know, Phil Spencer's a great guy. This is probably not a widely known story.
He's a Microsoft Games leader.
So I hired Phil to come run one of our business units.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And he calls me up and he said, they just offered me the head of Xbox. And I said, dude,
take it.
You know what? I want you here and I would love to have you here, but that's your dream job. And so go do it. But I was ready to hire him to come probably be my successor. And so that was an easy part of doing this deal too. It was I knew the guy, liked the guy, and I thought he'd be a good
Steward.
really good steward for the business for the future. And so far what I've heard is they haven't really changed too much. And there's no corporate infrastructure anymore. So it's back to like all studios.
Yep, you heard that right. He had offered Phil Spencer a job at Activision to eventually become the CEO of Activision before Phil Spencer became the head of Xbox. These two companies aren't much different from each other. There's actually no hope for Call of Duty becoming a great game based on merits instead of the name of the game. A short couple of months before the release of Black Ops 7, Activision announced that Carry Forward would no longer be a part of Black Ops 7 due to massive backlash related to skins. Since the absolute ridiculous gun skins would not be going forward in Black Ops 7, they thought that it would be enough to appease the fans into believing Black Ops 7 would be more grounded. But of course, they weren't fooling anybody. With Battlefield 6 looming, it was clear to Activision that this year's Call of Duty was going to be a dud. But no point in not releasing it at this point, since it's practically guaranteed to sell well because it's Call of Duty. It's practically like McDonald's at this point. And putting the pitchforks down for a second, I'm sure the developers have no say in how this expansion is marketed, and I applaud them for being able to push out this much content within the confines of Black Ops 6. There is absolutely no one to blame here but Activision and Microsoft themselves. The 4-year development cycle of Black Ops 7 is a marketing truth that masks an industrial reality. Yes, Treyarch was quote-unquote the leader of the 4-year development cycle, but those years were spent rebuilding the franchise's systems into a unified engine and putting out fires on other games like Vanguard Zombies. For us, the players, the conclusion is clear. Call of Duty has ceased to be a series of discrete games. It's become a singular, evolving software platform. The 4-year titles, like Black Ops 6 and 7, are the massive system updates. Kinda like the move from Windows 10 to Windows 11. The Year 2 titles, like Black Ops 7, are the content drops marketed as full releases to sustain the revenue machine. Let me know what you think about this new era of Call of Duty in the comments down below. Is it too late for Call of Duty to become great again? Or is this a necessity for the game to survive? And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.